Okay, it's show time already. Good morning, good morning. It's nice to have everybody here on this beautiful call this morning. We are great, such an auspicious moment for us, and we are so glad to have you join us this morning. We have our guest speaker in here already, Mr. Kolawole Ayobami, and also we have with us this morning the managing partner and CEO of Strength Africa. He's also here with us, and amazing and wonderful participants from all over the world. Thank you for joining this morning. Uh, so, we are going to dive straight into the business of the day. Uh, Please permit me to invite a very special personality to give us an opening remark. He is no other person than Oluseyi Taiwo Adepoju. Who is Oluseyi Taiwo Adepoju? Let me tell us who he is. As I've said earlier, he's a managing partner of Strength Africa Limited. Let me read a few lines of his profile so we can get to know him more. He's a managing partner and chief executive officer of Strength Africa Limited. He's a is a globally certified dialogue strength coach and management consultant that has led and management corporate strategy across the financial services, hospitality, energy, tourism, college, and logistics space, to mention a few. He is extensively traveled and has an invaluable depth of leadership experience in the public and private sector with a knack for taking calculated risks. He has carved a niche for himself in the personal development and business strategy space with a demonstrable track recording spanning over 2 decades. He has an MBA from the Business School Netherlands and a first degree from political science at the University of Ibadan. He has, he has also a certificate in science of well-being from the Yale University. Ladies and gentlemen, who else is to have this reports profile if no other person than Oluseyi Taiwo Adepoju? We call him the Oracle. Please, with a round of applause, with drum rolls, welcome to this call, Oluseyi Taiwo Adepoju, aka the Oracle.
Wow. Uh, uh, wow. Thank you so much for the amazing review of my file. I do not take it for granted. I must apologize. I'm in between sessions at the moment, and so my camera cannot come in. However, I want to welcome us all to this first in the series of the Business Excellence uh, workshops and sessions that we're going to be holding. And the Business Excellence workshop or series, as the case may be, is very critical at the time that we're in Nigeria and in Africa. Also, with consideration as to the or post COVID, and then with the extant realities of the VUCA realities. VUCA meaning volatility, uncertainty, certainty, and ambiguity as we experience in the world today. I'm honored to be here today and to have the opportunity to begin to stir up this conversation. Even though we have succinct subject matter experts in person of Mr. Kolawole, to further give impetus to some of the things that we're going to be talking about. And as we gather here today, I'd like to remind us that excellence is not just the goal, but it's a journey. It's a mindset, okay, a way of thinking and approaching challenges that sets us apart from the rest of the world. Excellence requires a commitment to continuous improvement, a willingness to learn and grow, and the courage to take calculated risk. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's fast-paced and ever-changing business landscape, it's more important, really, than ever for organizations, individuals to strive for excellence. It is what will give us that competitive advantage that differentiates us to remain relevant, even in the VUCA realities. Look, we must stand out from the crowd. We need to achieve our goals and realize our potentials. And that's why achieving excellence is pivotal at this point. It is not easy, it requires hard work, determination, and a relentless focus on excellence in all facets of the business. It requires us to push ourselves beyond our comfort zones and to continually strive for better. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the talk about me. Let us embrace the challenge of excellence. Let us work together to inspire and support each other as we strive towards our common goal of income, of influence, all right, and impact. And let's challenge ourselves, each one of us on this call this morning, to embrace excellence in all we do and to never stop striving for better. Thank you for being here today, and I wish you all a productive and inspiring event. Mr. Moderator, I believe you'll be taking us on a journey alongside our subject matter expert to unveil business excellence for businesses in Africa. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, wow, wow. Well said and certainly delivered by Mr. Taiwo. Thank you very much for that wonderful, wonderful opening remarks from you, sir. I really wish you can just take off this session, with all what you're having to give us this morning. But I know Mr. Kolawole will do perfect justice to this as it comes on board. Without no waste of time, let me introduce to us the pilot upon who is going to be taking us on this flight this morning. And I believe we are going to have a safe landing. Mr. Kolawole, I trust we are safe in your hands this morning.
Hi, Ezekiel. Good morning. Good morning.
All right.
Rest
Good morning,
of the world.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let me read your a profile of Mr. Kolawole. Okay, so let's pay close attention and listen up. Kolawole Ayobami Kehinde is a managing principal and chief executive officer of Rose Window Consulting Limited, a business management and educational consulting service provider. He is an alumnus of the University of Ibadan, Grade UI, and holds first and secondary degrees from the Department of Educational Management with a specialty in educational policy and planning. He has worked in the financial services and management consulting industries, spanning over 15 years, functioning effectively in retail, commercial, and public sector. He is also a faculty with Strength Africa Limited. He is the current chairman of the Abuja branch of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development, a member of the Institute of Corporate Administrator, and an associate member of the Nigerian Institute of Marketing of Nigeria. Over the years, Kolawole has been involved in developing and facilitating management training, ranging from business process management, organization dynamics, market analysis, business sustainability, growth and change management, leadership and strategic and performance management in both the public and private sector. Wow, wow, wow. Kolawole Kehinde is passionate about personal development and was the first president of the Topaz Toastmasters Club. He is a writer and author of 2 personal development books, Take Charge of Your Time, Take Charge of Your Life, and 20 secrets successful people hide from the rest of us. Well, these books are currently available on Amazon. He's also a public speaker. Other interests include public advocacy, community development, and traveling. He is married with 2 children. Wow, that's awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let us. I really wish you can give him a standing ovation over here, but this is a virtual event. Let us, with a round of applause, welcome our guest speaker for this morning, Mr. Kolawole Ayobami. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir. Over to you.
Thank you for that robust introduction to and a brief look at my profile. And I must thank Strength Africa for this opportunity that they have given the whole world to look at how, if you look at the remark that the managing partner of Strength Africa mentioned that excellence is a journey. And I think that is the most critical thing that we must put in our consciousness, that excellence is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And business itself it's a marathon. You know, the essence of business is risk taking and profit making. While you are taking the risk and you are making the profit, you need to still understand that you need to be sustainable, you need to be agile, you need to look at your environment, you need to look at the people that are churning out those products, those services, and every other stakeholders that you find around. And these are many more. You look at it, look at some other things within the business space, not only the business space, even governance, even family, even all of that. You know that every every that is serious. Business is serious, family is serious, and even the governance is serious. I was reading an article yesterday about politics, and they were trying to analyze how politics and business are always both the same, because this has to deal with issues of life and death. And when you start to look at business or your life at that prism, it gives you that urgency, that clarity, and that need to push it. I'm so glad that I'm speaking to quite a diverse cohort of people all over the world, people that are passionate about their businesses, people that are looking about moving to the next level of their businesses, and people that are trying to reiterate or iterate their processes and try to improve their processes. We will talk about business excellence in so many ways. I'll put in some case studies that are very known to all of us, using Nigeria as an example, bring out some notable business is that, of course, what they've done over the years to show that excellence is a journey and it's a lifestyle of continuous improvement. And once again, if you are here, I would like you to dash to the chat session and tell me what you think about business excellence. For me, business excellence is an holistic review of how things should be and how to achieve our goals and objectives within the space. I worked in the banking space for about 15 years. I worked directly with 3 regional managers. I worked over the course of 5 management change, and I will know how these managers, when I say managers, I'm talking about the chief executive officers, ran the business of the bank. And I think with that experience, I will share some tips, strategies, and how we processes. I'm sure if you have looked at business excellence, I'm sure you will have looked at probably go to Google to that what is business excellence. And I'm sure if you go there, then the first thing you will notice is that talking about management tools, talking about processes, and talking about an holistic view of how that should be done. And well, good morning, Omesit. Glad to have you. Not add what you understand by business excellence, but if you have that understanding, you could just pick it up, all of that. And before the presentation proper is that excellence is utopic too, and what it means is that it's a state of assumption, is a state of imagination. That means that it's a stage that you might never fully attain, but that you gravitate towards. So that's why we said excellence is not a journey, it's not a destination, but it's a journey that will continue to improve and to get a whole lot of things to get things done. And these are the things that we would be talking about. And this is one of the things that will actually impact our presentation for today. So I'm going to dive straight up into the presentation. And while I do that, I hope you have an exciting time with yourself. So once again, as you can see, my screen has shown who I am. I'm an learning and development expert. I train, I consult for businesses, and also I'm the current managing principal for Rose Window Creation. It's a management consulting firm with interest in business and educational development. And we'll jump straight to it. And as I've I did a little bit of background about what business excellence is, and I mentioned that it has to do with how we can have our business sustainable over a course of time. Uh, about 3 years ago, something struck the entire world, and that was COVID-19. And a lot of businesses struggled to go virtual, and that is one of the reasons why we can see that most of the trainings and things we have today has to do with virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, and all of that. And these things help us know that the world is changing, the world is unpredictable, the world is uncertain, and knowing that will keep you constantly on your toes, not to become anxious, but to become prepared about your businesses, whether you are an SME business, whether you are a local corporate, or you are scaling to operate in many countries that become an international business. There are frameworks, models at which you can actually explore to check your strengths. I'm sure you've heard about the SWOT analysis, the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And of course, I'm sure you've also heard about the PESO. We talk about the factors that affect businesses, and which are political and social economic factors. We're talking about legal factors, technology, and all of that. So a business must have this holistic view of what they do, look at their processes, and look at how they can continuously develop practices that drive and change the advancement of their goals and objectives. I mentioned earlier on that one of the sole objective of a business is to turn a profit, and if that is the underlying goal of a business, then you can start to measure how that is happening. Of course, in business, something is really critical. Excellence is a deliberate action. It's not an accident. It is something that you work towards. So when we mention about business excellence, look at the issue of being deliberate. What exactly do we want to do, and what exactly have we achieved? I'm sure that we've heard about so many management and performance management tools, the key performance indexes, and all of that. But all those are just very, very, if we don't understand that excellence is a journey. About some days ago, we heard about a war between Microsoft and Google. And what was that? That was a new innovation that came into the automation world. We call it the Chat GPT. It's an automated and elaborate system that helps you to simplify your search. And about yesterday, we had that Google had retaliated with its own ChatGPT alternative. So what that means is that no business will stay on top forever. And when you understand that, it keeps you being deliberate, it keeps you intentional, and it makes you see beyond the immediate and see into the future. The businesses that are going to survive in the 21st century are businesses that are innovative in their approach and businesses that are creative. Because today, the rate at which business models and ideas can be replicated has come, so it's become higher, faster, and quicker. So it's only businesses that can stay ahead of the curve that will become excellent in their own right. Innovation is critical, and it has to dovetail to product development, market development, market penetration, market growth. Then, of course, customer loyalty. How do we make customers become our friends? And one of the things that businesses have started to do is to operate in a lean mean approach. And of course, businesses are making customers become workers, not only workers, also even advertisers for their brand. So businesses have evolved, and managers and chief executive officers are looking at how they can reduce their input and focus on the core of their operations while they outsource and even in cases like I mentioned earlier on, put on the task that they normally do in-house on the back of the customers. And customers are excited and they're doing this. And one of that is the development of mobile applications. Like in the bank, I said I was going to mention it. One of the things that mobile application internet banking has done for the banking space in Nigeria and all over the world is that it has pushed the services that you normally go to the bank to do right in your palm. It has taken that risk away from them and has given you that risk on you. So if you, by the time you are initiating a mobile bank transfer, if you peradventure transfer funds into the wrong account, that will be your responsibility, not the bank's responsibility. What does that mean? What it means is that businesses must learn how to reduce their risk. And that's why we found issue of sustainability and continuous innovation and reiteration. So what are the creative ways that you are looking at your business? One of the ways you can find that out is looking at what your competitors are doing. But if you're like me, it's always good to focus on the blue oceans. That means the uncontested market and uncontested ideas and innovation. That's why you have to be continuously innovative in everything that you do. And that was what Peter Drucker said. So we live in an era of accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, tremendous competition, and he added further that lightning communication. Today, I'm communicating with people all over the country, not all over Nigeria, but all over the world. This is the age of knowledge, this is the age of communication, and this is the age of connectivity. Businesses that cannot reduce and streamline their connectivity, their strategy are going to struggle. So businesses that don't have an online presence, businesses that don't have social media presence will struggle because one, in areas whereby you have restriction, people are getting busier, and you need to look for how to communicate with people and how to make things easy for people to do. These are some of the things that help us shape and align our strategy and help us improve our processes. Now, if we work, there is continuous change. Change is so rapid that you cannot catch up with it, and you just need to walk at your pace and try to create milestones on how you're going to navigate the changes that you have encountered. So for businesses today, even in Nigeria, it's important that you make yourself visible online. It's important that you make yourself leverage the emerging media, which is internet and social media. And today we have Web 3.0, where we're doing blockchain and augmented reality, virtual reality, and all of that, and the meta world. So these are things that are shaping up. They might not be as entrenched and stabilized now, but these are ideas of the now and of the future. Because trust me, we are already in the future. Because we are here and we've had about issues that are happening and occurring all over the world, and that these are things that are important, and we should always put in the back of our mind and understand. One of the things that happened about recently is the issue of the Naira design and the issue of how banks and even other organizations have been struggling to handle the logistic part of this distribution and all of that. And you look at some analysis, you look at some feedback from the people, from the populace, and you know that these processes are not as foolproof. They are not excellent. And when you score the federal government, you know that the federal government is actually struggling to make that money. So it's important that you know that while you're looking at strategy, you need to look at leadership too. And when you're talking about leadership, you're talking about the organizational culture. Culture is critical in every organization, and culture is the way we do things. And businesses need to evolve because culture also evolves. So if you operate in an environment whereby the culture is so static and the leadership is constantly in a state of inertia, it will be a difficult challenge for strategy to be implemented. I said even culture will eat strategy for breakfast. I'm sure you will have heard about that phrase before, because no matter how fantastic your strategy is, without a good culture, a good organization. When we talk about the culture, we're talking about processes, we talk about leadership, we're talking about stakeholder management, we're talking about market focus and all of that. But how do we engage the customers and how do we get our processes done? And of course, when you talk about complexity, now you need to interface in a rapidly changing and of course confusing environment. When you talk about complexity, you talk about issues of regulation. We see government regulation, policy issues that are challenging how business processes that. That means that businesses have to be insightful. You need to look through and think through about all of those things that you will do. And of course, competition is enormous. But today, internet has become a leveler for almost all businesses, from a one-man business to a 100,000 workforce. Everybody can stay online and improve their processes. So businesses that are not taking advantage of the emerging media are going to struggle in this new economy, and in the economy in which knowledge is the new resource. It is important that we are familiar with technology, where we know how to get information. That means we are computer literate, digital literate, and we also must know that communication has become so important. You know that there are one of the things that businesses have adopted today is how to handle customer issues on social media. Of course, social media has become a tool of empowerment and a tool of suppression in the hands of both the customer and the business. And customers are calling out companies, and companies are ensuring that their competitors or their alternative don't beat them into it. So I could go on Twitter today and chat at First Bank. I did a transfer and I don't see it, and I've not gotten an alert, and First Bank will pop you up in seconds. And that is how excellence is done. And you can see the rate of communication and how communication is shaping how businesses should operate. And the frameworks that we have looked at, that I've spoken about, that issue of leadership. Leadership is central to the growth of any organization, because it's the leadership that determines the culture of the organization. But culture itself is not only at the footstool of the leaders. That means the organization must develop a culture that suits them and that will outlive even the leadership, because business also must be an ongoing concern. Then you look at the area of strategy. When we talk about strategy, I earlier spoke about the SWOT analysis. We look at our strengths. Where are we good at? What are we good in? We look. Some strengths could be your intellectual property. It could be even your manpower. It could be your processes and all of that. You look at the weaknesses. What are the teething problems that are affecting our operations, and how can we do that? This can become competitive advantages for your organization. Then the opportunities that in the market, they are always almost identical, just as a threat that are always in the market. About some months ago, the people that were in the dispatch and the logistic business in Abuja had to deal with government regulations, and they asked some of these people to stop operations and go get new equipment to run their businesses. Of course, for businesses that don't look at policies of the government, they will struggle, because when you have investments that you're not sure that the government is going to be proud of, it will always cause problems for you. Then, of course, I've spoken about customer market focus. How do we look at our customers? How are we addressing our customers? What are Are we turning our customers into loyalists, ambassadors, into fans? Are we building a community around our products and services? And these are what are driving change. And because now we have over six age group in the workforce now, from the baby boomers to the millennials. They are here in the organization. So you need to understand who your product is servicing and what are the peculiarities on that side, on that level. Now, in terms of market focus, you look at market segmentation, diversification of business opportunities, and even divestment from unprofitable markets, unprofitable even segments and quotas. Then how do you track customer feedback? That's analysis. How do you do research and development? And the customer data you get, how do you mine them? How do you mine them and use them to fine-tune your processes and all of that? Now, we are also in a age whereby we've heard about the quiet quitting, we've heard about massive layoffs and all of that. And staff of the organization are requesting for more reasonable and flexible working conditions. You've heard about people working from home, people working remotely, people are being driven back to the office to work and all of that. So you need to understand how you work best, how you improve your processes, and how you will get the best out of it. Now, of course, you also have to look at the issue of operations. How do we get our operations going on? And we had issues of CRMs, we have issues of business processes, you have issues of business intelligence, and you have so many platforms, softwares, SaaS as a service, and all of that. So these are the things that drives all of it. And the whole essence is that results. We want to see results that are repeatable, because that is, that you then results that can be scaled to. So in this era, you want to make sure that if you go to a Domino pizza, if you ask for a chili pizza 10 times, you are going to get the same kind of chili pizza. What it does is that it reduces waste, improves process, and of course, there is a standard taste that everybody will resonate with. So in that area, you have to know that how do we manage our processes? What do we do? How do we make our processes robust enough so that we can get our operations right, which can reduce our costs, which can help us enhance our process, enhance our engagement with the customer, with the market, with the government, and other regulatory bodies. These are some of the things that we have to look at when we talk about business excellence and how business excellence shapes our reality. Now, there's so many drivers and enablers of business excellence within our space, but from the part of the CEOs, which I believe quite a whole lot of us are, or managers, which we have to be visionary. We need to have a goal and look at what we really need to achieve. So vision is one of the things that drives business excellence. What are we saying? What do we want to do? How do we want to engage our market? How do we want our market to see us? And what do we want to achieve in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? Are we just doing this business just to survive for the next paycheck, or we're doing this for the long haul? So this is where vision comes in. Mostly in the United States of America, in UK, and quite a couple of developed countries, you see businesses that are 100 years old, 120 years old. Then you come to Africa, you find out that business really exceed 30 years, 35 years, and you start to question what's the issue of succession, what's the issue of sustainability, how are these businesses not been able to transit 3 decades, and what are the challenges that they have faced. Of course, in Africa, we've had issues of political instability. We've had and Africa has always been a a continent that's been driven with AIDS, despite the fact that it's the most resource-rich continent in the world. For example, Nigeria has one of the largest deposits of crude oil and gas. But Nigeria, as of today, imports all of its crude that are needed locally. Then you have to start to ask questions. What have been the challenge? Is this a sustainable practice that would make our businesses or that make our nation or our economy vibrant? Obviously not. In that space we are really wanting. Now, also trying to understand your market. When you talk about market, I'm talking about not only your competitors and the expectations within that market, in the sense that what do the market need at this particular point in time. Most of the times you will have to assume. That's why it's always good to do a market personnel of what you want to achieve. And the businesses that have been able to ride above what customers need, businesses like Apple, businesses like Google, are the vanguard of innovation. They keep on creating products that we tend to warm ourselves into, not the products that we actually need. Because even the customers, you find out that some of the time they don't know everything that they want. But as of today, you see earpieces that are not wired, and of course those are innovations, because people don't want cluttered wires around their desk and all of that. They want to move around, and you continue to see innovations on that space. And I think even the computer that we use, even the mobile phone. Now the mobile phone came in, and when the mobile phone came in Nigeria, we just had the functionality of text and voice. But today, mobile phone has been a convergence of everything from our health. Mobile phone is our bank now. Mobile phone is our body now. We connect to the internet. We even work from our mobile devices. And this is a function of people that have seen ahead, and people that are continuously thinking of how to make processes easier, make businesses more streamlined, and to make sure that we continue to create value. Because eventually it's all about value creation. How do you create value? Then how do you engage your customer? I mentioned earlier on now that social media has become so ubiquitous. They call it the fifth estate now, and social media is driving engagement across all boards. You see what happened and what is happening even in the customers in the social media space as of today. Now, social media, especially social network platforms, have become customer feedback and customer complaints so that even the organizations are not especially spending exorbitant money on it, but because they are latching up on platforms that are created communication and connection, they are able to respond to customer at least or no cost on the business operation. Now that means a business that designs an extremely robust feedback will be spending so much money and might not be able to drive customer onto that platform. But the businesses can go probably on Twitter, on Facebook, and they are already connecting with people online and all over. And when you hear about good reports from that customer, you see that other businesses are warming up themselves into those businesses that distinguish themselves to be customer centric. Now, away from that, you can have fantastic vision, you can understand the market, your product can be excellent, you can engage your customer, but if you have problems with your staff, your business is going to struggle. Now, we add issue of diversity, issue of equity, issue of inclusion. For a business that wants to transcend into the next level of their operations, they have to understand that the DEI is important and it is sacrosanct in the growth of every business and every organization. Now, businesses are incorporating the physically challenged people, the visually impaired, people of different diverse race, diverse sexual orientation, and all of that. And you can see what happened during the FIFA World Cup that happened in about recently ago, we found issue of countries fighting over how the employees or workers have been used and to build stadiums all over the world, all over Qatar, and we found out that they've not been paid well. So now employees are even able to extend their grievances anonymously to the public and also open up employers to the public. What that means is that information sharing has become so fluid that it's so easy to know what is happening in your organization, and that will spell doom of a business that has pre-governance issues, that has issues with employee engagement, well-being, mental health management, and all of those things. So now people can know what they can compare pay across board just by clicking 2-3 buttons on the internet, and they know whether they want to work with you as a company or as an organization. Now there's so much feedback on the internet, and of course, so much as there are feedback on the internet, there are also so much of fake news, propaganda, and business espionage. So businesses must also able to create processes that can refute wrong allegations to them and help them improve. Because the easiest way for a business to fail in this era is not being visible to the market. And visibility has to do with continuous advocacy about your business, being a socially responsible organization, and an organization that everybody wants to work in. So those are the things, and they are very critical to everything that we want to do. Whatever you do, you know that excellence is something that you need to continuously work on. So it's also important that you have to rate your excellence. Excellence has to be in milestones, in project conclusion, in business appraisal, in performance management, and every other thing. Now, and you must also understand that these gains must be sustained, so that you don't take 5 steps forward today and you're taking 15 steps backward. Now, businesses are doing quite a whole lot of things, and they are expanding their operations even in an unregulated, uncertain, and a very ambiguous environment. I'm sure you heard about the VUCA. The VUCA, people will be talking about the VUCAs. That means that business, we're looking at business, the volatility of businesses, the uncertainty that is wound around business operation, the complexity of operations has to do with regulation, has to do with inter-country alignment. You know that if you have a business online, you need to align with the GDPR, information management rules, so that if you're selling your products in UK, US, all of those countries, you must sign up and agree that you will be a responsible custodian of customer data. And today, customer data is now the new oil, because once you are able to articulate your customer data and mine them, you are able to sell targeted and specified, even individualized advertisements. That those are the things that are shaping the business world today. And of course, because of policy interventions, policy review, and failures of governments and governance, you find out that we continually deal with ambiguity within our space. So for organizations that are going to excel, they must know that even within that volatility, they can stay calm. And of course, that has to do with understanding the markets, bringing out the right strategies, and having the leadership and the followership that can drive that change. Not only drive the change, but sustain the change and make those gains worthwhile. Now, what are the trends shaping our space today? What are the things happening within our space? How are we getting businesses done and all of that? So you can see that automation has become very critical for almost every business now. Now, one of the way I will advise you, if you are online already, even from using your phone number, putting on WhatsApp, you could write an automated message on your business account so that when people meet you, you can engage them almost immediately. So apart from that, if you have a website, your business has a website, you can have a chat bot that automatically welcomes people into that. That means it helps you track customers and visitors that have come to your space and how to engage them. I spoke about lean management. Of course, we've heard about Sigma 6, we've heard about lean management and all of that. All is businesses are reducing, they're shedding staff, and they're going flat. And what it means is that managers are managing quite more elaborate workforce than ever before. That means they are getting overwhelmed, they are stressed, and then the only way they can do this effectively is to automate a whole lot of processes. And never has this been as interesting before. You see a lot of outsourcing companies, you see virtual personal assistants, we've seen issues of continuous automation. We are bringing customers to become workers. They are doing self-service, and they're expanding our business, and they're making our business work. And we are seeing that even businesses now, through corporate social responsibility, they are creating communities around their products. They are using influencers to drive business, not only celebrities and influencers or actors and all of that, but they are using normal people like you and I to drive change in a subtle way and to sell their products to the community. Now, businesses are also optimizing their resources. They are seeing people going to cloud rather than purchasing their own server. People are engaging in shared services, and people are collaborating. Even competitors are collaborating, and they're lapping on shared services. And these are the things that are expanding businesses. So today, business, you won't only work with your competitor. In some cases, you need to collaborate even with your competitor so that you can still get a piece of the pie of the business around. And of course, there have been regulations upon regulations about in Nigeria as a whole. You find out that regulations are always coming out in businesses. So you have the ISO, you have quite a lot of international regulations that you need to comply with. You see issues of CFT and AML, that's anti-money laundering and financing of terrorism and all of that. So businesses must be able, you must be smart, and you must know that these trends are universal. Like the AML is a universal regulation. So if you are conducting businesses, you must ensure that your businesses do not flout these regulations, and make sure that your business can scale on an international level. If as much you can be, you can work on your businesses and can ensure that businesses are getting the best out of what they do and how they get it done. And how do we solve this problem? Where do we go from here? What are the issues that would determine whether we're going to be an excellent business or we're going to keep struggling? Every organization must become a learning organization. I think that is the most important thing. So for businesses, it's important that you have a learning and development team. Even if you're a one-man business, that means you need to not just be a CEO, you must be a chief research officer, a chief marketer. You must understand that businesses are building up. Old management tools and plans that were there in the 1960s have become obsolete. Now we're talking about servant leadership, we're talking about transformational leadership, we're talking about shared leadership. So businesses must understand that now we are moving from empowerment to enablement. Now, while we are giving employees the rights, we're giving the delegating to them. We're also sharing our parts to them. So we're from empowerment, we're enabling them to be a part of decision making and all of that. I also mentioned expressly that businesses need to understand that we're working with 5 generations are now working in the workforce. That means you know that the workforce has become highly diverse. Probably you're going to work with someone that is just probably 20 years old, and also be working with somebody that's about 60 years old. And how do you build a culture that will align with the intricacies and the yearnings of all of these people? Another thing is that there's so many, because of issues of climate change, issues of ongoing war, challenge with COVID, and continuous springing off of one endemic or pandemic disease all over the world. And just look at what happened in Turkey about some couple of days ago. And they have a massive earthquake that has really devastated 2 countries, Turkey and Syria. And you can see that businesses that are not insured are going to struggle. And even the government has come out to say, hey, this is too much for us. We need international intervention. Now, how do these businesses survive? Now, business must develop sustainable business practices. We're talking about low carbon emission. We're talking about going paperless. We're talking about going green. We're talking about automating our processes. We're talking about ensuring that we create businesses that would outlive even cohorts, and it will translate into much more elaborate businesses, and also by even incorporating customers into product innovation. So you see customers, you see so many surveys coming out, and so many challenges. If you go on TikTok, before an artist comes online, he does a challenge, and sometimes if somebody wins, they incorporate the person into the video, and that's that they're building community, they're building a huge fan base, and they're enhancing their processes. And then lastly, I think corporate governance, whether you're a one-man business or you are a conglomerate, when you have issues with corporate governance, it could affect your business. A critical example is what happened to Mr. Andani. It was about the 3rd richest person in the world. Today is the 17th richest person in the world, because there are issues around corporate governance and trust issues, and that has cost the man quite a whole lot of headache, and the business as a whole. So you could see that for businesses, it's continuous learning is the way to go. You just need to continue to improve your processes and learning from your mistakes. Businesses that don't make mistakes will not grow. So, and that was what Nokia said. We did everything right, but somehow it doesn't work. So businesses that don't innovate will eventually go extinct. They would be extinct, just as how Nokia went off the radar. They stopped to innovate. They felt too big. And when businesses get too big and they can't innovate, you know that's going to be a problem. And today, we are not just talking about leadership at the base. We are talking about leadership across the pyramid. People will have to lead themselves before they lead organizations. So every organization should start thinking of building leaders. And leadership is not a function of position or authority. Is a function of lifestyle. It's also important that we understand that the workforce is very diverse, and we make every diversity within our space that has been acknowledged and recognized. These are how you can expand your businesses, and we've heard about gender issues of advocacy of equal pay. We've heard about shattering the glass ceiling and all of that. Now, even in Nigeria, you find out that in the banking sector, the number of female CEOs have increased, like what it was 10 years ago. So businesses are understanding. Even recently, there was a lady that became the CEO of Africa for United Bank of Africa PLC. These are new things that have pervaded our space, and you know that those businesses are enduring and they're going to stay 40, 50, 60 years. I'm going to be excited when to see Dangote spend the next 100 years. Of course, I'm sure I might not stay that long, but see businesses that can go through generations and expand their offerings and expand their processes. And also, we know that a business is good and is as good as its culture and its governance. So where the culture is faulty and governance is faulty, there cannot be excellence in that space. And I also want to mention that without analyzing our leadership, without understanding our strategy, without understanding how these things work, it will be a challenge for us to develop processes that will outlive us and that will get the best out of us. I want to thank you for this little time. I'm sure that we've talked about quite a whole lot of things in terms of leadership. We're talking about leadership across the spectrum in the organization. It's important that businesses understand how they roll within that space. It's also important that business must continue to innovate and iterate. And this is also the time for you to learn new things, to unlearn and to relearn. And know that nobody is too old to learn when it comes to business issues and all of that. So these are some of the things that we have spoken about. I believe strongly that businesses that are going to survive in the 21st century are businesses that can improve their processes, businesses that are not afraid to make decisions, businesses that helps organization become like a community. Now, ensure that by the time we leave this space, make sure that if you don't have a social media handle, you are right there going to get it. Your business. You don't have a website. It's important that you start considering having a website. Now for businesses that are much more into organization, you start to think about having your own mobile app and creating an engagement and creating a community, because it is a community. Businesses that are driven with the model of building a community are the businesses that will stay the next 50 years, the next 100 years, and if possible, business that will become eternal. I want to challenge you to read this book from Grace by Jim Collins. It's a book that you need to read and to understand what it means to improve your processes. So guys, today it's been an exciting time. Talking about business excellence is so huge and so deep, but I know that those points that I've touched will awaken your mind and cause you to go out and look at how you look at your processes. How is my leadership like? How am I treating my customers? How am I treating my employees? Are they partners or are they subordinates? Am I pushing them, or am I improving their mental well-being and all of those things? So these are things that can help you really continue to expand your ideas, help you to improve your processes, and look at it. It's not an accident. It's continuous, it's deliberate, it's intentional, and it's iterative. Thank you once again. And if you have questions, I'd like to have that over to you, Ezekiel. Thank you for having me. And I think I should just give you the control once again. Thank you once again.
All right. Powerful. I must say, Mr. Kolawole, this is mind blowing. I can have my jotter is already full here with a lot of points I was just putting on down, and I'm hearing this on a very, very new dimension, on a very different note from, lessons I've been hearing before. This is an awesome job. Thank you very much, Mr. Kolawole. And I believe that our audience and participants all around the world who are joining from the live streaming enjoyed as well as much as I have. Have a lot to take home with this morning. I don't know if anybody is having a questions, comments and reviews. Let us have from our participants. Anyone, just a show of hand. You can just type into the chat box. Let us know what questions you want to ask Mr. Kolawole this morning. If saying none, let me move straight. All right. We have a question, Mr. Kolawole, from Aramide. She's asking this morning that what are some of the key traits and habits that contributes to business excellence? What are some of the key traits and contributes to business excellence? Mr. Kolawole, you want to answer that, sir?
Yeah, straight away. I'm going to just answer that. I mentioned earlier on that business excellence is robust, and excellent working environment. We have a process that is not totally foolproof, but that is iterative. That means a process that can be worked upon to improve processes. Let me tell you one of the story. Before I left the banking space, there was a key performance indices and the framework that they brought, and it made a lot of people lazy, and it made them, they were able to tweak their performances, and eventually the KPI became academic rather than helping the organization achieve its goals. Now the traits, a business must have vision. Some businesses have never even developed their vision and mission statement. That means they're not directional, they're not intentional. So a business must be, are we serving? You cannot serve everybody. It's not true. It's not important. It's not possible for you to serve everybody. Apple, when I talk iPhone, is not for everybody. Even Samsung is not for everybody. But there's a Techno, there's a Xiaomi, so who is your market? You need to understand all of that. I've seen another one. How can business foster a culture of continuous improvement and commitment to excellence? I said continuous learning. A learning organization, a business must be a learning organization. That means you must institute learning in your daily activities. Also, when I was in the bank, we had these knowledge sharing sessions almost on a daily basis. We were drowned in knowledge, information, but businesses must employ people that want to develop too. Personal development is the most critical of anything that you can actually have. And once the staff are keyed into personal development, you can be sure that your business is going to grow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Aramide, I hope that answers your question. We have other questions rolling in from, I can see Caroline Diaz raising a question.
Oh, Caroline.
Yeah, she's asking, how can organizations adapt and respond to changes in the business environment to maintain their excellence? I don't know if you get
that. Adaptation and response. Adaptation and response is a function of how robust your R&D is. It's still a function of not following the trend. If you have to be a trendsetter. I mentioned that sometimes some people just came up with the HiPods, wireless earpiece. How did they think? How do people move from wired earpiece to wireless earpiece? Of course, people didn't want cluttering. This clean desk. I have my clean desk. Even today, you'll find that a typical iPhone does not have a 3.5mm jack, because said, okay, if I have Wi-Fi and I have screencast, why do I need a jack and all of that? So these are the things that you need to know. An organization has to be forward thinking. You need to innovate, and most of your innovation might be failures at first. So an organization that does not permit its staff to fail is not also going to, because it's that failure that you find new ways to do things. I think I answered that question. Carol, Carol, and how's South Africa today? It's good to see you. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kola. I'm enjoying this already. This is awesome. This is awesome. We have another question from Stephanie. Stephanie, how can businesses foster a culture of continuous improvement and a commitment to excellence? Wow, wow.
Stephanie, I want to say once again that there is a process that is easy. It's one of the easiest processes that you can ever use. It's so simple, but people overlook it. They call it the SWOT analysis. You know that the SWOT analysis is so robust and also so down to earth that you can even use it for your personal life. What constitutes a business? The environment, their competitors, and also their ability to innovate. Now, in terms of their products, their strength, what are our strengths? You need to analyze those strengths. What are our weaknesses? You need to know your weaknesses, and what are the opportunities, and also what is available, what could threaten us. Okay, look at what happened in the crypto space. There was a massive misapplication of funds. Backfried is actually having issues even with the US authority, though it's from Bahamas, because there had been issues concerning and wandering around crypto and all of that, and it's purely a regulation issue, away from decentralization of business operation and the hold that America has on the financial and economic space. But the idea is that there will be continuous improvement, continuous iteration. So how do you have a culture of continuous improvement, learning and develop? You need to do search and D in your organization, and you must know that you don't only benchmark your processes. It makes you a mediocre, but you must push the limits of what the market needs. Ensure that this is very interesting, and make sure that you get the best out of it. Okay, I saw one from YouTube, and I think that's interesting. It said, what impact does technology and innovation have on business excellence? And I want to tell you for free that the emerging media and information communication technology have shaped the business landscape in a way that it will never ever recover. I think technology is the reason why I'm talking to everyone here. I can see quite a whole lot of interesting people, and saying someone that I used to listen to. I see Kemi, the lawyer here, and this is Novel. She said, "Thank you so much," and she's a wonderful lady, and quite seeing Stephanie there too. So technology has shaped a whole lot of things, and I mentioned earlier on that as at today, if you open your Chrome or Microsoft Edge internet link now, you will see that there's an integration for ChatGPT, and there's also an equivalent for that in Google on the Chrome website. What does that mean? That means integration is the key, and convergence. Technology has brought convergence, just like the mobile phone. The mobile phone is your lover now. The mobile phone is your pastor. The mobile phone is your banker. The mobile phone is your doctor. Before, the mobile phone is just for communicating via text and voice. In fact, today there's less voice calls and there are more text-based calls. You can see the change. So if you have a business that is strictly on call, like the call center, how many calls do you entertain from all these automated calls? In fact, I can tell you maybe none. But if you have a text-based chatbot, the tendency for you to respond to it, businesses must know that the more you can streamline your operations using technology, the better, and the likely that you will stay beyond that 10, 15, 20 years to operate.
All right, thank you so much, sir. You know, I noted something from your earlier introductory speech into the session, and in fact, this I'm personally going to make a quote of you and a picture of you. It reads like
fantastic.
Excellence is not an accident. It is taking deliberate action. So, this is just an awesome session. It also boils down to business processes and all that you mentioned. So I'm just going to personally do that and send it to you later on after this call, sir.
Thank you.
We have a question from Omesi. Omesi is asking this morning, how do you get rid of bad culture in a business, e.g., a lazy employee who is becoming an influence on other employees and draining the efforts of supervisors? How do you manage that, sir? She wants to know.
Oh, okay, interesting. Recently, I had to have a coaching session with one of CEOs of a company that I consult for. What happened? The environment got so toxic, and before we knew what was happening, the staff turnover shot to 100%. That means business shut down and the organization. A further analysis, we discovered that the management were biased. They had stereotype, and they were pushing propaganda even within the office. So they were doing a divide and rule kind of a thing. Now, policies are critical. You must have policies that speak against bias. There are implicit bias and there are explicit bias. Everybody is biased, but we must all have a level of bias and try to move away from that. So that's why you set a culture of accountability, a culture of respect, mutual respect, a culture of transparency, and a culture of rewarding actual performance, not a culture of favoritism. So one of the things that lead that cause a culture that is toxic is when the leader does not stand their foot and they are also subject to. So if the leader is not subject to the policy, of course, you shouldn't expect anything from the staff. And the lazy employee, of course, there are very, very many ways to handle a lazy employee. And there is a theory by McGregor. So there is a theory X and theory Y. The theory X says that people are lazy, so you must set milestones for them and make them work and give them reward and punishment. Then some people are not really lazy, but they just want to be motivated. Businesses must know who their X and Y's are and must handle them in that way. Of course, when it comes to feedback, sometimes it's good to do feedback on a one-on-one basis and not calling people out in performance review and all of that. Those are things that make the environment toxic, and ensuring that people that have bad behavior are expunged from the system. Okay, and I'm going to answer Williams's question. Say, what advice do you have for organizations and individuals who are just starting their journey towards business excellence? Like I said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. Knowing assessment is the first thing. Assess your organization. One of the ways you can do that is I'm sure Strength Africa runs a business advisory unit, and they help you recalibrate. They help you deconstruct your business from your business plan and with of how your business is running and looking at the processes that you can use. Like I mentioned, even if you're a one-man business, you know what you're good at and you know what you should not be doing. Assess them, and you know what are critical in your business. Strengthen them, and what you can improve on, or what you are good at, expand it. So you need to focus on your strengths and make sure that your weaknesses are covered by organizations, institutions that you call of collaboration. And I'm sure that if you can leverage collaboration effectively, your business will survive. I think another thing that I think is more important is that every leader must have a coach. Every leader must have a coach, and it could be a coach at far or a coach very near to you. And every leader must also communicate their vision to everyone in the organization. most of the problems we have in organizations today are lack of effective communication and using wrong communication channels to engage your team. It's important that you expand your communication and ensure that you are sending the right message. Thank you, Strength Africa. I'm truly honored to be here too. Thank you so much.
Please confirm you can hear me, sir.
Loud and clear.
All right, this is my question. For individuals, for employees at work, in measuring their performance at work, we talk about the KPIs, key performance indices, and the rest. So now, how can organization measure and track their progress towards business excellence?
Okay, if there's a new thing in town, even some organizations have stopped doing performance appraisals. Even organizations like IBM, they've stopped performance appraisal and they are doing bite-sized appraisal. Probably more, instead of having a two session or 2-time performance appraisal session in the year, they are making it probably maybe on a monthly and a quarterly basis. And what you need to do is that ensure that your KPIs are smart. What does it mean? That means they are specific, they're measurable, they are achievable. One of the challenges we have when KPIs are set is that the middle level managers are always trying to impress the senior managers. And because the middle managers connect more to the senior managers and they try to overemphasize their performance or their ability to work. You could imagine an organization that has low capacity, just like what happened we were supposed to print some notes, right? We used to print our notes outside the country, but now we say we have a robust printing and minting that can do that in Nigeria. But from the assessment we've had, and I'm also aware that there's a meeting going on at the State House at the moment, we know that that has not worked as we will have assumed it will work. My office is just very close to Central Bank, and even around you see pockets, you see lines of people queuing at the ATM. I think it looks so good and so disturbing and so embarrassing seeing people queue as if they're getting tally numbers in 2023. Oh, that's not good. So in terms of how do we set appraisals, businesses must be innovative. These KPIs, these performance management models that we use are things that they use in the Second World War. So you can see how long that model has been. So the business needs to improve on that. Now you have 360-degree feedback. That means you can assess your manager can assess you, and you have even a third party doing the assessment. Assessment needs to be fair, it must be objective, it must be tied to the goal of the organization, and it must also be an appraisal that will make you a responsible organization. So like you have ladies going all out to get businesses, and they are put at the way of harm, or you have a man that has to livable that he has to resort to misinformation, disinformation, and probably information padding just to get his work done. Of course, business is a volatile environment and it's filled with risk and reward. But while you're looking at the risk and reward, you know that you need to work as a responsible organization.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure.
All right. Let me send a special and a very warm appreciation to Mr. Kolawole for having time out of his busy schedule to be here to pour out of his wealth of experience for us this morning, and to all our wonderful participants and audience who joined in via YouTube, Facebook, and all around the world. We say thank you so much. We We hold this in so much great awe. We love you. We love you. And at this note, we have come to the end of this broadcast for this month, and we hope to see you next month. See you at the March series of our Business Excellence webinar. And also remember that the Nigeria presidential and gubernatorial election is coming up in February, in few days from now. I urge us all to please pick up your PVC and vote for the right candidate of your choice. Thank you very much. Thanks for being part of this program this morning. And on this note, we say, have a lovely day. Have a great weekend. We love you all from Strength Africa team. Bye.